There is something quietly unsettling about stories that unfold not in distant, unfamiliar places, but right next door, in spaces that feel almost identical to our own lives. Thy Neighbor, a 2018 psychological drama, builds its entire atmosphere on that very idea, the fear that what seems ordinary on the surface may be hiding something deeply disturbing underneath. As you begin watching the film, you are not thrown into chaos or high-intensity drama right away. Instead, the movie takes a slow, deliberate approach, inviting you into a world that feels calm, almost too calm, and that's exactly where its strength lies. Directed by Todor Chapkanov, the film carries a distinct sense of control in its storytelling. Chapkanov, known for his work across different genres, handles this narrative with a steady hand, allowing tension to simmer rather than explode. His direction focuses more on atmosphere and character psychology than on flashy sequences, which makes the experience feel grounded and realistic. He understands that fear doesn't always come from what you see, it often comes from what you suspect, what you imagine, and what you slowly begin to realize. The story revolves around a seemingly normal suburban setting, where neighbors live close to each other, sharing polite conversations, occasional smiles, and the usual routines of everyday life. But beneath this surface lies a growing sense of unease. The film introduces us to its central characters in a way that feels natural, almost casual, as if you are meeting people you might already know. There is nothing exaggerated about their personalities, they are simple, relatable, and that makes what follows even more impactful. The lead performances play a crucial role in bringing this story to life. The actors do not rely on over-the-top expressions or dramatic dialogue. Instead, they deliver subtle, controlled performances that slowly draw you in. The main protagonist, portrayed with a quiet intensity, captures the emotional journey of suspicion, curiosity, and eventual fear in a very convincing manner. You can see the change in their expressions as doubt begins to creep in, and that transformation feels authentic rather than forced. What makes Thy Neighbor particularly interesting is how it handles its pacing. This is not a fast-moving film filled with constant action. Instead, it unfolds gradually, allowing each moment to breathe. At times, the silence in the film speaks louder than words. A simple glance, a paused conversation, or even a quiet evening scene can carry a heavy emotional weight. Some viewers might find this slow pace challenging, but for those who appreciate character-driven storytelling, it becomes one of the film's strongest aspects. The narrative builds on the idea of suspicion between neighbors, something that is surprisingly relatable. We often assume we know the people living around us, but how much do we really know? The film takes this everyday thought and stretches it into something far more intense. As the story progresses, small details begin to stand out, strange behavior, unusual routines, and moments that don't quite add up. These details are not immediately explained, which keeps you engaged and constantly questioning what might be happening. The cinematography of the film complements its tone beautifully. The use of lighting is particularly effective, with many scenes set in dimly lit interiors or during the evening. This creates a sense of confinement and tension, making the audience feel as if they are trapped within the same environment as the characters. The camera work is steady and observant, often lingering just long enough to make you uncomfortable. It doesn't rush away from moments that feel awkward or tense, and that decision adds depth to the viewing experience. Another notable aspect of the film is its sound design. Instead of relying heavily on background music to create tension, Thy Neighbor uses silence and subtle ambient sounds to its advantage. A creaking floorboard, distant footsteps, or the faint hum of a quiet neighborhood can become incredibly powerful when used at the right moment. When music is used, it is minimal but effective, enhancing the mood without overpowering the scene. As the story moves forward, the emotional stakes begin to rise. The protagonist's curiosity slowly turns into concern, and eventually into fear. This progression is handled carefully, ensuring that each step feels justified. The film doesn't rush into revealing its secrets. Instead, it allows the audience to piece things together gradually, which makes the eventual revelations more impactful. The supporting cast also deserves recognition for their contributions. Each character adds a layer to the story, even if their screen time is limited. Their interactions with the main character help build the overall tension, creating a web of relationships that feels real and believable. There are moments where you begin to question everyone, wondering who can be trusted and who might be hiding something. One of the strengths of the film lies in its ability to create discomfort without relying on graphic or explicit content. It stays within the boundaries of a monetization-safe narrative while still delivering a gripping experience. The tension comes from the situation itself rather than from shock value. This makes the film accessible to a wider audience while still maintaining its impact. The themes explored in Thy Neighbor go beyond just suspense. It touches on trust, isolation, and the human tendency to overlook things that are right in front of us. It raises questions about how well we truly know the people around us and whether appearances can ever be trusted completely. These themes are presented in a way that encourages reflection without feeling preachy or forced. As you approach the later part of the film, the tension reaches its peak. The story begins to connect its scattered pieces, and the truth starts to emerge. The way the film handles its climax is consistent with its overall tone, controlled, intense, and focused on emotional impact rather than spectacle. It doesn't rely on sudden twists just for the sake of surprise. Instead, it builds toward a conclusion that feels earned. The ending of the film leaves a lasting impression. Without revealing too much, it is the kind of conclusion that stays with you even after the credits roll. It doesn't try to provide all the answers neatly. Instead, it allows room for interpretation, which can lead to interesting discussions among viewers. This open-ended approach adds to the film's depth and replay value. From a performance perspective, the lead actor deserves special mention for carrying the emotional weight of the story. Their portrayal feels genuine, capturing the internal struggle of dealing with growing suspicion and fear. The supporting actors complement this performance well, ensuring that the narrative remains balanced and engaging throughout. Todor Chapkanov's direction ensures that the film remains cohesive, even with its slow pacing. He understands the importance of building tension gradually and trusts the audience to stay engaged without constant stimulation. This confidence in storytelling is evident throughout the film and contributes significantly to its overall quality. In terms of production, the film maintains a consistent visual and narrative style. It doesn't try to be overly ambitious with its setting or effects. Instead, it focuses on delivering a strong story within a familiar environment. This simplicity works in its favor, allowing the audience to connect with the characters and their experiences more easily. Thy Neighbor may not be a film for everyone, especially for those who prefer fast-paced, action-driven stories. However, for viewers who enjoy psychological drama and slow-burning suspense, it offers a rewarding experience. It is a film that requires patience, but in return, it provides a deeper, more immersive journey. The film's ability to create tension through subtlety is one of its most impressive qualities. It proves that you don't need elaborate setups or intense sequences to keep an audience engaged. Sometimes, all it takes is a well-crafted story, strong performances, and a director who understands the power of restraint. As you reflect on the film, you may find yourself thinking differently about the concept of neighbors and community. The idea that something unusual could be happening just next door is both intriguing and unsettling. This lingering thought is perhaps the film's greatest achievement. It stays with you, quietly influencing your perspective even after the story has ended. Overall, Thy Neighbor stands as a solid example of how effective storytelling can elevate a simple premise into something memorable. With its careful direction, strong performances, and atmospheric presentation, it manages to create a compelling narrative that keeps you engaged from start to finish. It doesn't rely on excess, instead, it focuses on delivering a meaningful and thought-provoking experience. By the time you reach the end, you realize that the film is not just about uncovering a mystery. It is about understanding human behavior, questioning assumptions, and recognizing that sometimes the most unsettling truths are hidden in plain sight. That realization is what gives Thy Neighbor its lasting impact and makes it worth watching for those who appreciate a more nuanced approach to storytelling. This movie is available on YouTube free.